House special election. Oftentimes, special elections, the losers say our candidate was bad, there was infighting, there was a debutante ball, and all our supporters are debutantes. In this case, everybody acknowledges in the Republican Party that I know, with one prominent exception, that this was a big problem. For instance, Ron DeSantis it says the losing this House race was a big deal. Here's what he put on social media, the what's it called, Twitter X. Ron DeSantis. Where's that? Do we have that? Maybe we don't have that. Maybe I didn't ask for that. Maybe we don't. No, I don't think we have that. Anyway,
he
Ron
said
DeSantis,
a swing of this magnitude is not something that can be dismissed.
That's right. I heard from a lot of Republican consultants this weekend who said this is bad news, folks. This shows decline with Hispanics, with young people, with women. This was a huge. Trump won it by 17. The Democrat won easily. Republicans and the lieutenant governor put in a lot of effort. There's one prominent Republican who on social media did 3 posts saying vote for the Republican. That was Donald John Trump last week. 3 posts on Truth Social. Another guy, same name, Donald John Trump. Here's what he said when asked over the weekend about the big loss in Texas.
Texas, a Democrat won the special election in an area that you had won by 17 points. What is your reaction to that?
I don't know. I didn't hear about it. Somebody ran where?
In Texas, a special election for legislative
the 9th state Senate seat.
I'm not involved in that. That's a local Texas race.
Did you endorse the Republican?
You mean I won by 17
You did.
and this person lost? Things like that happen.
Does it worry you about the
Well, you don't know whether or not it's transferable. I'm not on the ballot, so you don't know whether or not it's transferable. But no, I don't know anything about it. I didn't know. I mean, I know there's a race going there, and it's too bad. What can I say? I have nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with the 3 posts. Hogan, does the president really not know? And how would you say the president's political team are reacting to the loss in Texas?
Well, I don't know whether he knows or not. I mean, look, his team kind of coalesces around him and tells him these are the races we need to watch out for. Here's an endorsement. I mean, that's how it works. I mean, they're not paying attention to these type of local races. However, local races, as you well know, allow you to effectuate the most change. Mike Huckabee once told me that the more local the race, the easier it is for you to effectuate change in any given topic or subject matter. This matters in large part because Donald Trump did win the district or did win the area by such a big margin. And then all of a sudden the flip happened. Governor DeSantis is absolutely right. The question I always ask in these races is not just who lost and why, or who won and why they won. Excuse me, or who won. It's the why that matters. What led them to this mindset that they thought they'd be better off with a Democrat in office? And if it's indicative of a broader mindset of many voters out there, then you have to figure out how to stop that, change it, and then look in opposite directions to try and right the wrongs. But to this point, it's pretty obvious that the numbers are really close around this country. Things are changing rapidly from the numbers of representation in these states to some little oddities out there. But I've long said this, that Donald Trump is the biggest natural turnout machine I have ever seen on a Republican ballot. And if the RNC, the NRCC, the NRSC don't know how to bottle that in some way, at least make the bottle like half full, it's going to be very difficult because he really does turn people out.
All right. Well, Hogan, as you look at this for yourself, if 0 is no problem at all, it's all just a bunch of local hoo-ha, doesn't have any meaning for the midterms, and 10 is we're doomed, it's going to be a massive blue wave. Where are you on the wake of that result?
7.2.
Okay, that's pretty high. Okay. Kevin, your
History
candidate
also on the side of the other.
Yeah. Candidate, Kevin, your candidate is a machinist. He's about to be on Morning Joe, so we're looking, maybe we'll dip into that. Democrats are super excited about this. What are the lessons here for the Democrats? Run machinists, or everything's I mean, if they can win this district in a expensive race, does this mean Democrats can win 40 House seats?
I mean, I think so. To your point, this was a 31-point swing. I think, the real lesson learned is candidate quality matters, right? Running the right folks that match the district. This is a guy that works for Lockheed, which is like, so I saw someone say earlier, it's like working for GM in Detroit, right? This lines up perfectly with this district. He was massively outspent. And I think obviously you can pull some factors out of this. in the notion that this looks like a really suburban district in a lot of other places. And there's probably some serious concerns and head scratchings on the Republican side based on some of the demographic switches. And to Hogan's point, the lower turnout in terms of Republican enthusiasm without President Trump on the ballot. That is going to be a huge factor for Team Red heading into the midterms.
But I would say, too, it always fascinates me because Donald Trump also turns out Democrats in numbers I don't think we've ever seen
Very
before.
true.
But
Yeah.
he tends to turn out Democrats when he's not on the ballot.
Yeah.
He doesn't turn out Republicans when he's not on the ballot, which I find fascinating.
The other issue that people are talking about is the redistricting in Texas, and this was predicted by some before this result. It could backfire. They tried to create more Republican districts by spreading the Republican voters around, but the federal House races in Texas now, Republicans who thought they'd pick up 5, they may not. Because if they can't do better than they did in that district with Hispanic votes, they will not. All right,
especially that point, Mark. Especially that point on Hispanic voters, right?
Yeah.
With record high support for the president this last go around, and that's going to be a huge factor.
It's cratered in almost every poll. Exit question on this. Although then we're going to a related topic. Kevin, what is the ceiling of how many House seats Democrats could win in the midterms right now?
Ceiling is 40. I think what you
40.
just laid out, right? If we look at a D+6, 8 environment, I think that's what we're looking at.
Hogan, over under 40. Is it more than 40 or fewer than 40?
I think it's fewer.
Yeah, it's 40. The ceiling's 40.
Even though there's a 6 point, as you just said, Kevin, that's still usually much higher for Democrats. I think it's really, really close.
Yeah, a bunch of new polling.
There's not that many competitive districts, frankly.
Sure too.
Here's the guy who just won this House state legislative seat in Texas. Let's listen.
I think we have this. That was our focus. Working people, the folks that work every single day in this Senate district, they're looking for something different.
Ooh, this guy's good. I can already tell he's
Senator.
good.
I've grown up, Senator, in red states across the Deep South. And I will tell you, my friends that I grew up with in the Baptist Church, my friends that I'm around now in deep red America, they're disgusted by a lot of things they're seeing on television. But at the same time, the Democratic brand is so toxic that they're like, okay, well, I'm sorry, but I can never vote for a Democrat. I want to ask you, how did you break through? How did you get past the bad National Democratic brand in a place like Fort Worth, Texas, when you knocked on doors, had people that had voted Republican their whole life decide to vote for you?
To me, it was simple. We had to focus on solutions, not partisan politics. Bringing communities together, that's what it's all about. In Texas, we look out for our neighbors, and that's exactly what we did with this campaign.
Kevin, this guy's awesome, right?
What were some of those
He's going the distance
that you offered?
Well,
and I'm curious,
he'll probably lose in November.
Affordability. How concerned were people?
The crazy thing about this whole thing is
groceries, the
he's not. They're not even in session until after.
Yeah, they're every 2 years. He's not going to see.
He may never
any
actually
action.
sit.
One of the cornerstones of this,
run for the U.S. Senate.
Top issue is lowering costs. People are very concerned. They're struggling out here. Choosing between rent and medicine, that shouldn't happen in such a great economy like we have.
Kevin, what lessons, if you were teaching a class for candidates on the ballot in red districts in 2026, what would you say about that? What lessons they could learn from that guy?
Well, certainly a lesson in running in Texas is to have a cactus prominently displayed right behind you, with the Texas flag in terms of your setup.
Yeah.
But again, and he didn't take the bait, right? As you just said, Mark, earlier, the president's standing is not in good shape, but the Democratic standing is in worse shape nationwide. So, right, localizing the race and focusing on affordability, just like we won in Virginia and New Jersey, is the way forward. Not trying to build the Democratic brand, but running your race to the local issues is the way to do it.
Hogan, do you think that guy was as good as I did, or?
Yeah, it was horrible. He was horrible. Okay.
Horrible.
First of all,
he won, dude. He just won.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That means he's not horrible. Also, if I were teaching a class, which I have before, I would put that video up and go, "Don't do this right here. This is an example of
what do you do wrong?"
Well, first of all, you're talking about bringing the party, the country together, and you're on Morning Joe. Big mistake. Number one, they don't do that. Number two, When asked about how you won, we focused on solutions. Okay, can I have a little more about what you told the voters? And I think in that particular clip, what you saw was that's all he told the voters. He didn't tell them how he was going to get these things accomplished. And as you know, that
nobody does, Hogan, though.
Hogan,
Nobody
presidential candidates don't.
Yeah.
Presidential candidates don't tell them
yes,
what they're going to do.
He can't solve the affordability crisis.
He already won, and he still can't tell me how he's going to do a solution. I think it's going to be a
Hogan,
blowback.
The bar's too high. Bar's too high. Bar's too high. Bar's too high.
They say that something that's easy is like a walk in the park. Well, easier than a walk in the park, hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss an episode, be part of our conversations. Thank you for your service to America.
And don't forget, you can now listen to the morning meeting and Two-Way Tonight on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.